And this is his exit ramp after commandeering John Fetterman like a human flesh mecha. He's just like, I can't wait to go to Congress and vote for the next bill that gives $7 billion to Israel. You see the Fetterman airplane tantrum? I feel like the stroke actually broke his brain. Oh my God. They should be talking about the other fundraiser going on. Oh, I forgot to mention that. There's a fundraiser going on right now that's popping on Twitter, and it is probably the newest depth of depravity. One that I did not think we would ever, I mean, I thought that we would inevitably approach, but who knows? There's the Fetterman article that I want to read, but also, I'm going to talk about this fundraiser, chat. It's crazy. There's a lady who apparently, where is it? Bro, that shit is so, I mean, yeah, here, this is Caroline's tweet about it, but using a Studio Ghibli chat GPT pig in a tweet defending a white woman who raised hundreds of thousands of dollars after she called a 5-year-old black child the N-word. First Amendment is supposed to protect all speech, they say. And yes, the story is fucking crazy. This lady walks up, this crackhead ass lady walks up to like a 5-year-old, I think disabled. Where do we have the actual, I need to fucking, to cover this. Is autistic. Okay, 5-year-old autistic. Hold on. This is 46
all by
minutes
himself. John Fetterman insists he is in good health, but staffers past and present say they no longer recognize the man they once knew. Written by Ben Terrace.
I gotta pee.
When John Fetterman was released from Walter Reed Hospital in March 2023, Adam Gentleson, then his chief of staff, was proud of his boss for seeking help for what the senator's office and his doctor had said was a case of clinical depression. His 6 weeks of inpatient care had been the latest medical setback for the Pennsylvania Democrat, who had had a stroke mere months before being elected to the U.S. Senate in 2022, nearly derailing his campaign against Republican Mehmet Oz. But a year after his release from the hospital, Fetterman's behavior had so alarmed Gentleson that he resigned his position. In May 2024, he wrote an urgent letter to David Williamson, the medical director of the Traumatic Brain Injury and Neuropsychiatry Unit at Walter Reed, who had overseen Fetterman's care at the hospital. I think John is on a bad trajectory and I'm really worried about him, the email began. If things didn't change, Gentleson continued, he was concerned Fetterman won't be with us for much longer. His 1,600-word email came with the subject line, concerns, and it contained a list of them, from the seemingly mundane, he eats fast food multiple times a day, to the scary, we do not know if he is taking his meds, and his behavior frequently suggests he is not. We often see the kind of warning signs we discussed, Gentleson wrote, conspiratorial thinking, megalomania. For example, he claims to be the most knowledgeable source on Israel and Gaza around, but his sources are just what he reads in the news. He declines most briefings and never reads memos. High highs and low lows. Long, rambling, repetitive, and self-centered monologues. Lying in ways that are painfully, awkwardly obvious to everyone in the room. Fetterman was, according to Gentleson, avoiding the regular checkups advised by his doctors. He was preoccupied with the social media platform X, which he'd previously admitted had been a major accelerant of his depression. He drove his car so recklessly, Gentleson said, that staff refused to ride with him. He had also bought a gun. He says he has a biometric safe and takes all the necessary precautions.
Oh, no.
And living where he does, I understand.
Oh, no, bro. Oh, no. He has a gun? Uh-oh. I hope this story doesn't get weird or scary. Probably not the type of guy that you would want having a gun, considering that his brain processes are, His brain capacity is not great.
And the desire for personal protection,
Let's see.
Gentleson wrote, referring to Fetterman's rough and tumble town of Braddock, Pennsylvania. But this is one of the things you said to flag, so I am flagging. Another red flag, Gentleson added, every person who was supposed to help him stay on his recovery plan has been pushed out. Fetterman was isolated.
I do have to give Felix Biederman his flowers here. Okay, friend of the show, Felix Biederman, who often gets me in trouble whenever I repeat his takes. Felix Biederman has an ongoing bit about John Fetterman that turns out wasn't a bit at all. And it turns out it was just this article talking about what he did because he was worried his son's birthday would overshadow him. Okay. And it is crazy because this article all but confirms, I mean, it does. It basically confirms his bit. It turns out every Felix joke about Fetterman was underselling the situation. This sounds so much like Kanye. It's crazy. Bro, it also kind of sounds like Ethan. There is like, I'm not kidding. There is like a real phenomena of like people in the public eye that just have very open meltdowns, whether it's because of a nitrous addiction or whether it's because of a severe debilitating stroke, or I guess like when your malignant narcissism finally reaches its like apex point. What was the bit? Don't worry about it. I don't know. Maybe it's COVID-19. Who knows?
Had damaged personal relationships and was shedding staff. The turmoil in his office continued over the following year. Since winning election in 2022, he has lost his closest advisors, including 3 of his top spokespeople, his legislative director, and Gentleson. His circle of trust has shrunk, and people I spoke with made it clear that they expect more staffers to depart.
Yeah, also there's this footage of John Fetterman getting into an issue with a commercial. John Fetterman arguing with a commercial airline pilot about wearing a seatbelt.
Is your seatbelt on? Yes, it is. Okay, it needs to be visible for the crew at all times. That's not an us thing. That's a federal regulation. So it's okay. It's okay. I put my seatbelt on and I haven't.
Bro, look at the pilot babying the ogre, dude. He's like, it's okay. It's okay, gentle baby. It's okay. Please, Lenny, put the rabbit down. Lenny, put the rabbit down, Lenny. Rabbits are not pets to be killed. It's not food. Put the rabbit down. Crash the whip like I'm Fetterman. Wife wish for a better man. Son's birthday, I got a better plan. On the E-Way reading Reddit. Damn. Oh, I'm sorry, bro. This just ain't it. This is fire.
Okay, it's okay, but it just has to be visible to the crew at all times. It's a federal regulation, so if your seatbelt's on, it just has to be visible. And right now, we have an extender if you'd like that. It'll make it bigger so it can go outside of your sweatshirt. Would that work? So if you want to go to Pittsburgh, it's simple. You have to follow our instructions, or you're going to ask to get off here. We're not asking much. All that happen, like all that needs, we need to be able to see your seatbelt at all times.
I've been flying for 30 years and I've never experienced this. I'm not sure what's happening.
Okay, well, it's a federal regulation, so if I don't make you do it, then I get in trouble, and I don't want to get in trouble because I like my job.
This may be a controversial take as an American citizen, but I simply could not imagine giving a flight staff a hard time over anything. I mean, if there's a person who's going to have a hard time communicating with anybody, flight staff or not, it's going to be John Fetterman.
When Fetterman first caught the attention of the national press, journalists wrote about him like he was a benevolent ogre crossed with a folk hero. More specifically, that's how I wrote about him. This is the tale.
This was funny because I like some people are claiming that this was about Ethan. I don't think it was. I think it was about Fetterman. Y'all are f***ing wrong, dude.
Tale of Big John Fetterman, the giant who lives in an abandoned car dealership beside a steel mill. My 2018 profile in the Washington Post began. He's 6'8", arms covered in ink, head as bald as a wrecking ball. At the time, Fetterman was mayor of Braddock, which looked a lot like the left-behind corners of the country that had...
Oh my God, I found a non-problematic version of Twitcher. Like if I were to do one for Ethan and he couldn't even say it's anti-Semitic, because like if I were to do like, I don't know, Ethan or Hosberist or Ethan or Nazi or whatever, he would like yell about that. But I just realized you could very easily put together a video game, Twitch or style, Ethan Klein or John Fetterman. Bro, you were just on Fox News. Calm down. What do you mean? What? Yeah, you could do a Ethan Klein or John Fetterman. Ethan Klein or Bush administration neocon politician. Literally. E or Fetterman.
Flocked to Donald Trump. He was running for lieutenant governor of the state, and it was easy to see his appeal. He was a bit introverted and curmudgeonly, but funny.
Have you heard about the gangs and gang rape of children in England allegedly being covered up so as to not upset the Muslim communities in certain states? What's your take on it? I remember reading into it a little bit. Didn't the findings actually show that it was overwhelmingly white men that were engaging in, and that really frustrated people? Yeah. Pretty sure it was the white British people that were responsible for it with overwhelming frequency. Also, I mean, if you want to talk about a f***ing gang, how about the royal family, you know? Goddamn. Or Russell Brand. Or the Tories. I guess also the Reform Party now. Classic oi, bruv. But then again, I don't know. I'm not super familiar. Maybe you think the most prolific of all time, Jimmy Savile, is a Pakistani or something. I don't know. Because like he single-handedly makes up the overwhelming majority of sexual assaults committed. Do you think Jimmy Savile is of Pakistani origin? Is that the argument that you're making? Oops. Got banned. Shit, mate. No. Can't even get a cup of tea around these parts. No, this guy doesn't care about the First Amendment, yeah. At least our schools are not a shooting gallery. Kiddo, what are you doing? By the way, Fizz totally clapped him and then blamed the lake. That's crazy. You know I can see your mod enforcement, right? Like I saw you banning him in Name Another Mod. That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, throw him under the bus. All right, then, let's get back to John Fetterman.
Smart
right.
and passionate about the fate of communities like Braddock, tattooing the date of each murder that occurred in the town during his tenure on his arm. Endorsed by Bernie Sanders, but also sympathetic to fracking and other positions that cut against the progressive grain, he cruised to victory that year. The stroke in 2022 made it difficult for Fetterman to communicate, which was painfully evident in his one televised debate with Oz. As Republicans piled on with claims that Fetterman was incapable of doing the job, Democrats rallied to his defense and confidently predicted he would still be fit to serve. Now, even though he requires the help of captioning on an iPhone to deal with an auditory processing impediment, he remains a promising politician, at least to casual observers. He still exudes an elusive sense of authenticity, someone who can chop it up with manosphere chieftains like Joe Rogan while maintaining his strong stance on trans rights. A recent poll from Morning Consult found that his overall popularity is on the rise, with 50% of respondents approving of the job he is doing against just 35% who don't. With the Democratic Party out of power and fighting with itself about how to move forward, it would be easy to imagine
I really thought he would like be soft. On Israel, there were warning signs for sure, and people saw them. I genuinely thought he was just trying to like get like AIPAC and Democratic majority for Israel off his ass. This is one of my worst calls for sure. Like absolutely one of my worst calls. But to be fair, I did not know that, you know, he would. I say that conservatism is brain damage, but I never really saw it happen in real time. Like this entire article is about how he unironically became a reactionary charlatan due to the stroke, which he has openly demonstrated himself. He has openly admitted to himself on the Bill Maher show, if you remember. He's like, oh, God, the stroke made me see the future. It made me definitely a little bit different in the way I see the world. Like, it is crazy, man. It's crazy that, like, Did Mark hit you up to hoop today? He did, but I was streaming and it's really far away, so I couldn't actually go all the way out there to hoop because I'm too busy streaming. I do find it crazy. I do find it crazy that like we have living, breathing proof that if you get stroked, if you get a stroke, you could unironically become conservative through brain damage. Oh, here's a couple activists.
That Israel has the right to kill people. You still think Israel has a right to defend itself still? When is enough enough, Senator?
I don't know why you're harassing me.
That's not harassment. You're a senator, right?
I saw you coming and I assumed you were going to come over. And
I mean, you work for the people, right? You're supposed to, you're in these halls for the people.
I'm just sitting here on a bench.
Right. And my people are being slaughtered because of your votes and the money that you sent to Israel and your complicity in genocide. You have nothing to say about that? Over 100,000 Palestinians have been slaughtered. How do you...
It's kind of funny. He's just like sitting on that bench like a kid in detention. Yeah, he openly admitted that he was more open. Yeah, John Fetterman brags that brain damage made him abandon progressives. Like, he straight up said that. It's not a joke. During an appearance on Real Time with Bill Maher, Senator John Fetterman credited his near-fatal stroke with making him a conservative darling, describing as freeing. There's a line from First Batman. I feel like Batman, or Halo. Never mind, that was another brain damage conservative. Joker, he's like, I've already been dead once already. It's very liberating, Fetterman told Maher on Friday. That's not reckless. That's just freeing. It's just freeing in a way. And I just think after beating all that, I just really want to be able to say the things that I have to really believe in and not be afraid of it if there's any kind of blowback. I'm just like the Joker. His mental health journey while he's fiercely making figure eights like a Roomba with water damage, standing tall while he sits and mumbles, I'm just around a bit of edge. We need more of his brand of politics. Like, we didn't just have Feinstein and Biden. I don't understand. I actually don't understand why he's alone sitting on a bench. Like, this looks like something he filmed or something. Like, am I crazy for assuming he's being blackmailed by bad actors? No, dude, he got brain damage and it made him conservative. Okay? What kind of blackmail do you think is going to cause him to be like, my wife is an undocumented immigrant, but I think she should be deported? Like, what? Do you think that someone is also blackmailing him to say that? Because yes, by the way, John Fetterman's wife literally was an undocumented migrant, okay? And now he's against undocumented immigrants in the country.
How do you sleep at night, Senator? Seriously.
Oh my God, another mark for my wife is a terrorist, guys.
Do you sleep at night? Do you not see the videos and the just the children that are being slaughtered out there?
I don't have anything to say.
You don't have anything to say? Of course not.
I'm just sitting on a bench.
Because AIPAC pays you way too much money to say anything, to be a human being. Yeah. What a shame. What a shame.
Yeah. Fetterman's wife actually objected to his horrifying stance on Gaza. Weeks after the attack, Giselle arrived at her husband's Senate office, and according to a staffer present, they got into a heated argument. They're bombing refugee camps. How can you support this? The staffer recalled, her saying with tears in her eyes. That's all propaganda, Fetterman replied. Later, a still visibly upset Giselle pulled the staffer aside. She asked him if members of Fetterman's team were pushing him to take these stances for political reasons. The staffer told her that the opposite was true. Many of them were as upset as she was. If you're pushing back on this, there's no hope, the staffer recalled her saying. This is horrible news. A few days later, Giselle texted a different staffer. I am at a breaking point, and I can't co-sign this any longer. I'd love some help in language to separate myself from this. Can anyone help me? Yeah, she was trying to hide in the meeting where Fetterman was like, come on, we're going to meet my favorite guy.
This is a silver-plated beeper, the real beeper.
And he got the beeper? Oh, God.
It's like 1/10 the weight. It's nothing. Yeah, but it changes history.
You know, when that story broke,
yeah,
and I was like, oh, I love it. I love it.
Oh, I love it.
Thank you for this. Yeah, no.
Right. Oh, I love it. I love when you do terrorism, sir. It's so good. I hope this one blows up if I'm being bad.
No, thank you.
I won't have to worry about it because I will never be bad to you.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to get a King Kong situation with Reddit Man and his wife on top of the Capitol building. Reddit Man. John Redditman. It's crazy because he outflanks obviously the entirety of the Democratic Party on this, everyone in the base, but he also outflanks Republicans on this. Like, wait, they gave him an actual beaver? Yeah, they gave one to Trump too. I like to think that they gave those to be like, you know, don't speak out of turn. If you think Donald Trump did not get that beeper checked, okay, I know Donald Trump got that beeper checked. There's no way that Secret Service detail did not look up and down and scan the fuck out of that beeper to make sure that there wasn't a goddamn, at least like a spying tool in it. Wouldn't be the first time, by the way, that Israel is spied on Americans in Congress. Yeah, no, this is the one that Donald Trump got. To President Donald J. Trump, our greatest friend and greatest ally. Do you think Joe Biden is sad he didn't get a beeper? I actually, never mind. He doesn't know what the fuck's going on. Why'd you give me this? Where's Menahem Bane? That's the one I like. Where's Golda Meir? That young fox. I used to grab her by the small of the back and say, "You're a real one, darling. You're a real one, sugar tits. Real foxy lady. Watch me. Watch me."
A Fetterman 2028 machine kicking into gear. Instead, many of his former staffers are hoping it never happens. Part of the tragedy here is that this is a man who could be leading Democrats out of the wilderness, Gentleson said. But I also think he's struggling in a way that shouldn't be hidden from the public. Gentleson is a longtime Washington operator.
Isn't he the chief
He's worked
villain?
for a liberal think tank and written...
Gentleson is like the actual arch villain here that's like basically puppeteering him. And this is his exit ramp after commandeering John Fetterman like a human flesh mecha. He's just like, I can't wait to go to Congress and vote for the next bill that gives $7 billion to Israel. Yeah, Gentleson was retweeting IDF press statements and claiming that 90% of America was basically as right-wing as his idiot boss. He knew Fetterman was completely fried, but he still adopted all his new positions out of careerist instincts. I think Gentleson is just trying to save his ass here, but the idea of him going, oh no, the man we knew is completely gone, his personality, sense of right and wrong, is being warped irreversibly, and he nailed it on immigration in Gaza, is killing me. I will say this. Not many people could midwife an article like this that's supposed to grant them total moral and professional exoneration and still come off so slimy and untrustworthy. If I was your dad, I'd be sending you $10,000 a month. You rock. It's so funny. Anyone is taking him seriously about this. Maybe Fetterman is just a Gen X asshole. Before I say this, I want to clarify that I think Bernie has absolutely disgraced himself over the past 5 years and has especially disgraced himself with his right to defend himself shit at the rallies. But you know, there was a reason why the Bernie people kept Fetterman. I mean, the whole article is just, look at how great this guy is, except he's so troubled. Breathy whisper, he's bad. But just hear me out. If we could fix him. Yeah, John Fetterman is the Joe Rogan of the left. Oh, man. Yeah, no, Felix means kept him at a distance. Sorry. He's saying that, like, the Bernie teams basically distanced themselves from John Fetterman when they realized after the brain damage that he'd become this, like, reactionary monster. If you notice, like, a lot of the progressive Dems that align with him actively, okay, organized around him actively, basically went radio silent. Now, even though he requires the help of captioning on an iPhone to deal with auditory processing impediment, he remains a promising politician, at least to casual observers. No, he doesn't. He does not remain. Dude, you were kind of supporting him back in the day? No, I was. I know I was. I was trying to fucking white knuckle through the whole auditory processing thing. For sure. I already recognize. No, I was like, please, just, it's probably nothing. All the Israel stuff were warning signs there for sure. But first of all, there were people who immediately wrote him off with the Israel shit, okay? I will admit, I was not one of them because I thought, he's just trying to get AIPAC and, you know, Democratic majority for Israel off his back. He'll probably, at worst, be like a squishy lib that will vote, I don't know, to give Israel more money for self-defense, but then will, you know, maybe every now and then call out Israel when it steps out of line. You know, like the average Democrat that's like a little bit aligned away from the center, like more progressive. than the center. But after this shit, after his brain disease post October 7, he went crazy. Like I'm telling you, bro, he fucking outflanked. No, not even like AOC. He would have been worse than AOC. AOC, for all the shit that she receives, is, with the exception of they're working tirelessly around the clock for a ceasefire, is unironically one of the best congresspersons on this, which isn't saying much, I know. But she's not Ilhan Omar, she's not Rashida Tlaib, but she's as close to them as possible. With the one very notable exception of making the perhaps most suicidal career decision of associating with the dying wing of the Brandon Kratz. Was this big stroke before or after? No. It was before October 7, but he didn't chirp like this. He's gotten increasingly worse post October 7. Yeah, it's fucking hilarious that he only wore a suit to Congress when Netanyahu came to speak. Not even when Biden or Trump did. Oh yeah. Yeah, he is. I mean, we know he's not a man anymore. Okay, he is not a coherent, like an actual human being with cognitive function. He's just like a walking flesh mecha. AOC was lying about that, though? No, I know. Did I say AOC wasn't lying about working tirelessly around a ceasefire? I fucking criticized her when she said that back then. What do you mean? He still exudes an elusive sense of authenticity, someone who can chop it up with manosphere chieftains like Joe Rogan. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. While maintaining a strong stance on trans rights. A recent poll from Morning Consult found that his overall popularity is on the rise, with 50% of respondents approving the job he's doing, against just 35% who don't. With the Democrat Party out of power and fighting with itself about how to move forward, it would be easy to imagine Fetterman 2028 machine kicking into gear. No, it does not. Actually, it does, but not in the way that this article presents it. I'll be real. It does seem like the dumbass decision that the Democratic Party would do. They're like, hey, listen, last time we won an election, we had someone who had significant, debilitating mental issues. His name was Joe Brandon. Maybe we need another Brandon. And this time he will be a Brandonian style politician, but younger. Okay. We like the way he walks. We like the way he barely talks. We like the way he loves Israel. Welcome back, Brandon 2.
In a book about the filibuster. He and I first met back when he worked for Harry Reid, then the Democratic leader of the Senate, and later we became friends. Gentleson continues to believe broadly in the Fetterman project, that Democrats would benefit from punching left more often, and that voters crave a heterodox candidate willing to stick a thumb in the eye of his own party. He says his disagreements with Fetterman are by and large not political, but rather an expression of genuine worry for Fetterman's well-being. He told me he hadn't gone public with his concerns earlier because he had hoped Fetterman could correct course. I believed in John's ability to work through struggles that lots of Americans share, he said. He's not locked into a downward trajectory. He could get back in treatment at any time, and for a long time I held out hope that he would. But it's just been too long now, and things keep getting worse.
There's no way to speed it up.
He's not the only one who is uneasy. Former and current staffers paint a picture of an erratic senator who has become almost impossible to work for and whose mental health situation is more serious and complicated than previously reported. No one is saying every controversial position, for example, his respectful relationship with Trump, stems from his mental health, but it's become harder for them to tell which ones do.
This is an insane thing. Dude, what is up with this fucking party, man? Even the young talent also operates like the geriatrics. We are so comfortable with morons and people whose brains simply don't work as a direct consequence of their fucking age that this kind of reporting still has an air about it where it's like, well, yeah, he's fucking mentally handicapped in a way that actually implies that he should not be behind the wheel of a vehicle. But I think it'll be fine to present him as the future of the party. You say, but civility. But he doesn't even have civility. He's uncivil. Yeah, let's give him the nuclear launch codes so we can finally trigger the nuclear holocaust at the behest of Israel so that I can be rid of all of the fucking mental anguish that I have to experience. Come on, brother. Your ableism is showing. There has never been a moment where I have not been ableist towards people in positions of power. And not ableism in the sense that, like, you know, you're in a wheelchair or something. But mental disabilities, yes. I don't think if you're blind, you shouldn't be able to drive, for example. That's ableist, technically, okay? And if you're mentally disabled, you should not be a politician. But it seems like that's the only type of politician that we fucking have, you know? I'm ageist, I'm ableist. You already know, baby.
When I spoke with Fetterman in April and shared those concerns, he denied anything was amiss. He told me that he felt like the best version of himself and later texted that the staff turnover at his office was typical of Washington. Why is this a story? He asked. Many of the staffers I spoke with are angry. They are troubled, and they are sad. These were some of Fetterman's truest believers, and they now question his fitness to be a senator. They worry he may present a risk to the Democratic Party and maybe even to himself. Almost immediately after winning his 2022 race, Fetterman began to fear that everything would unravel.
Like, it is kind of, okay. The state of affairs as it stands right now is that you have to be a rapist to be a Republican, and you have to be mentally handicapped to be a Democrat. What the fuck is going on? Sometimes you need both to be a Republican. Like, what is going on in this fucking country, man? This is so... I mean, dying empire shit, 100%. What the fuck? It's like, hey, excuse me. It's like joining the police force where they're like, well, we made you do an IQ test and we found out that your IQ points are too high to be rendered eligible to join the ranks of the Democratic Party. Can you please use this metal pan to slam your fucking prefrontal cortex, like your frontal lobe, over and over again until you reflect the mindset of a lobotomy patient? Please, we need to work on this. We need to work on this a little bit. You need to be like Dianne Feinstein, you know, a young 95. Incredible. Demented versus rapist. Coincidentally, D and R. Yeah, exactly. Doesn't stand for Democrat versus Republican. It's demented versus rapist. Kirsten Cinema, despicable hit piece on John Fetterman. I wish I was surprised anyone would publish an obvious vendetta regarding a man's medical journey. What a weird medical stalker. To your former staffer, my advice to you is to do what your parents did. Get a job, sir. It's hard. It's hard to look at this and be like, I love this country, bro. We're doing so good.
It started, according to two of his former staffers, when Kenneth P. Vogel of the New York Times reached out to Fetterman's team about a donation the campaign had received from a super PAC associated with FTX, the now bankrupt cryptocurrency company started by Sam Bankman-Fried. The Times reported that the PAC had spent $212,000. Context of the mails, he told a person at the retreat asking if their boss was okay.
I'm skipping a little bit.
Fetterman was sitting at a table by him.
Because this part is like, it's just boring. Yeah, Fetterman fretted it would end his career in long meetings. Every call would be like an hour with them, convince them. Members of his team told me it was an early sign that something was off with their boss in early February 2023. Oh, yeah, this is the funniest.
The health of California Senator Dianne Feinstein. The 89-year-old Democrat recently returned to Capitol Hill in 3-month absence due to a bout of shingles. Her office confirms that she's dealing with some serious complications.
What do you mean? She looks perfectly fine. Nothing to worry about. Look at this, dude. It's so fucked. Oh, no, dude. There's nothing to worry about. What are you guys talking about? What the fuck? You just hate to see a sexy-ass woman have it all? I'm going to hell. How about the people that are propping her up with a fucking stick behind her back? What about the people that are like, no, dude, don't say anything is wrong. There's literally nothing wrong with this. Everything is fine.
The health of California.
Oh my God. Incredible. Fetterman have been indeed sworn in. Members of the Senate gathered at the Library of Congress for a caucus retreat. Fetterman, fresh off a hard-fought victory in the cycle's marquee race, should have been riding high, only he wasn't. A staffer recalled again if their boss was okay. Fetterman was sitting at a table by himself, slowly sipping a Coke and refusing to talk to anybody. Later that day, another staffer heard an alarming report from a journalist. Fetterman had just walked obliviously into the road and was nearly struck by a car. It was the car okay? Oh my God. He's like, hubba dubba. I did. He's walking around being like, AUKUS, Jack. AUKUS. He's so Brandonized, dude. It's awesome. And they found Fetterman wandering on Capitol Hill a short time later. Where did he have suffered another stroke? I thought he had another stroke, dude. He's like, bro, I'm sorry. He's like a 14-year-old dog, dude. He's just, oh man, he got out of the pen. Found himself in the middle of the road. Is he okay? Come on, let's give him his favorite treats. Make sure to put the pill in the peanut butter, okay? George Washington University Hospital, doctors determined there had been no new stroke and that the dizziness and confusion he experienced was partially owed to severe dehydration. Fetterman also consulted with a psychiatrist there, and according to someone briefed by doctors, was prescribed medications for depression. Doctors discharged Fetterman, and his team told the press that he had been briefly hospitalized after feeling lightheaded while attending a Democratic retreat. A week later, dude, he's perfect. He's perfect because, I mean, unless he like accidentally walks into traffic again, okay, God forbid, he's perfect. He has the mind of a 95-year-old, which is the perfect mind for a Democrat. Okay, this is the dynamo that the Democrats need. This is the future of the Democratic Party. So perfect. What if he gets stroked again and then this time he becomes a Maoist though? I'm just saying.
I can't believe I might die like this. I always thought I'd go the way all dogs dream about, slowly and at great inconvenience to my owners. Come on, boy. Here we go. Here we go. Let's get you to the living room. Lois, wrap one of his walking to the car pills in roast beef and peanut butter. I'm gonna hold his hips while he stands confused in front of the water dish. Go on, boy. It's right there. Come on, boy. It's right there. It's water. You like it. There you go. You're doing it yourself.
That's fucked up. But John Fetterman. Being asked if Fetterman is competent to keep himself sufficiently hydrated.
Regret saying that President Biden had a mental acuity. He had a sharpness to him. You said that up until July of last year.
I said what I believe to be true.
And you think he was as sharp as you?
I said I had not seen decline. And I hadn't at that point.
You did not see any decline from 2024 Joe Biden to 2021 Joe Biden?
Not when I said that. You know, the thing is...
It's so fucked up.
He was sharp. He was on his feet. I saw him. Live event. I had meetings with him a couple of times.
Senator, on his feet.
I know she laughed.
Is not praise. He can speak in sentences. Is not praise.
All right. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah. No, even she couldn't hold it in. Dude. What? Oh my God. God damn it. This country's going to shit. It really, I mean, it's in the shit. It's in the shit already. Ay, bro. It's just so ridiculous. Like the vindication that I was supposed to feel when every liberal basically overnight was like, oh my God, he is actually severely gone. Like he's done. There's nothing in there. It's just a bunch of quarters rattling around and there's empty. And now everybody says it. People laugh about it. Everybody yelled at me when I was covering it. I never get to experience the, okay, Hasan, you were right, my bad. Why does that not happen? Why do the props only go to fucking the Ezra Kleins of the world when they come at it, when they tackle the issue, when it's, you know, earlier than everybody else, but still far too late in comparison to other people? It's fucked up. I need to stop being right, but too early. I'm gonna start being more delayed on being right. They seem destined to get it long. Each Sherrod Brown came to pay a visit, but their meeting went awry. Brown tried his best to get a conversation going, but according to two people present, Fetterman was virtually catatonic. He could barely string two sentences together, talking so quietly that everyone in the room had to strain to hear him. Fetterman then stood up, began walking around the office in tight loops, moved two staffers described as doing figure eights. This is what Felix was calling like a Roomba with water damage. After Brown left, Fetterman paced from one room inside his office complex to another and back again. At one point, one of his aides said he walked in the hallway peering over his shoulder as if he were being followed by shadowy figures. The staff got in touch with the Senate physician and everyone agreed Fetterman needed to get to Walter Reed. He was admitted on February 15th. Those first days in the hospital were rough. Fetterman was experiencing delusions. He thought that if he took a bed at the hospital, he would be arrested. He told doctors that he believed members of his family were wearing wires to secretly record him. In one chaotic moment, Fetterman grew convinced that a political rally was being held in the hospital's lobby and that he needed to break out of his room to attend. David Williamson, Fetterman's doctor, told me that the main cause of his delusions were the lingering effects. Okay, by the way, Kirsten Sinema's not wrong. This reporting definitely, there's no way they got this information from the doctor, but holy fuck, dude. This is a crazy amount of detail for a dude. Like, it's in the interest of the public. It's in the interest of the public to know because he is a fucking senator. But having said that, I think this is an insane amount of detail about his medical complications. Like, that is wild. Oh my God. Delusions are the lingering effects of the stroke, dehydration, and depression. That the original medication for the depression could have also been a factor. According to paperwork from Walter Reed, doctors then stopped all antidepressants and put him on other drugs. Williamson declined to comment on the specifics of the medication plan. The PA Senate election was literally the doctor versus the patient. Yeah, and also the brave Sunni Muslim who would have liberated America versus the guy who is who's Israel's most loyal soldier. The new medication worked, and over the next few weeks, Fetterman's mood steadily improved, according to a public discharge briefing. He started sleeping and eating better. He was staying hydrated. Like, this guy, he's unironically like Brian in his old age. Like, he can't even fucking hydrate himself appropriately. Like, what are we doing? He's just sad and dry. Oh my God. Why is it that Americans, why do we have so many brain damaged people who own guns? What is happening? Why are they in Congress? You convince people to not vote for Dr. Oz. You are responsible. Listen when your audience holds you accountable. Wait, what? Nobody was demanding that we vote for Dr. Oz, dumbass. If anything, we fucked up with the Connor Lamb. We fucked up. But to be fair, I don't think Connor Lamb would have actually... Like, Connor Lamb, if he won, would probably be almost as pro-Israel. And the only reason why he's chirping from the sidelines right now is because... The only reason why he is chirping from the sidelines right now is because he wants another shot. To be fair, he had to buy a gun because he saw another black jogger near his house. Oh my God. Wait, what? You guys made a game already? All right, this is John Fetterman. We need to condemn violence on all sides and push for a peaceful resolution that protects both Israeli and Palestinian lives. Ethan Klein. Yeah, John Fetterman would never say protect Palestinian lives. I broke down in tears after watching the aftermath of the airstrikes. The images of unbearable. Ethan Klein. Come on, dude. Why would you give Hamas that kind of a reward when you have Israeli citizens still held hostage? John Fetterman. The death and misery in Gaza is terrible. Okay, this is a horrible game for me to play because I can just immediately. I will always one frame this. The death and misery in Gaza is terrible. The destruction and suffering is designed by Hamas. They understood that would happen and they don't care. Ethan Klein? Yeah. Okay, that one actually could have been John Fetterman. Oh my God, there's 81. My Jewish identity is important to me, but it doesn't dictate my political views on Israel Palestine. Dude, John Fetterman is not Jewish. What is this? This is not. Whoever wrote this was not thinking of like making I think you just put Ethan Klein quotes and Fetterman quotes on Israel Palestine into it. The point of the game is supposed to be that it's supposed to be difficult. We should follow and have Israel's back in the situation. It could be Ethan Klein. Okay, wrong. John Fetterman. I don't want to talk about this conflict anymore, really, at all, ever. Okay, Ethan Klein. That could have been John Fetterman. I don't consider myself a political commentator. I'm just giving an honest opinion on the subject that touches my life directly. John Fetterman. They did make this. They did make this in 20 minutes, to be fair. Thank you, chatter, for trying. Egypt should make it clear to Hamas that they own this humanitarian crisis and to surrender. Ethan Klein. Now I'm saying it wrong on purpose. I'm throwing on purpose. I'm throwing for memes. I'm throwing for memes. Okay. Oh. All right. I can't even finish the rest of this article. And that is because my friends are here. So I am gonna go. I'm gonna end the broadcast for today.